what is self-love and how do we discover it? How do we practice it? In this video, I'm going to share with you 6 steps to help you embark on a journey of self-discovery and develop a deep sense of self-love. Stick around. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Jenelle, and on this channel, I talk about all things personal transformation and self-help. So if those are things that you are interested in, be sure to hit the subscribe button so that you can stay notified on when I post new videos. Okay, so today we're talking about self-love, and this is something that I can talk about forever,
but I'm not going to talk about it forever
because I'm trying to give you a nice, concise video on ways that you can know if you love yourself. So in this video, I want to share with you 6 tips for discovering self-love. So tip number 6 to discovering self-love is to do some self-reflection and practice self-acceptance. You really need to take some time to reflect on your thoughts, your experiences, your emotions, and do that without any judgment. Just be honest with yourself about your strengths, your weaknesses, what you're capable of, what brings you joy, what frustrates you, what areas of your life do you struggle with. Just take some time, do some self-reflection, and learn to embrace and accept all aspects of yourself. It's okay for things to frustrate you, okay? It's okay to be upset. It's good to know those things because that's knowing who you are and accepting who you are and making sure that you're always putting yourself in a situation where you're either avoiding those things because they frustrate you, or you are working through navigating your feelings. One of my favorite ways to do self-reflection is through journaling. I've even written my own guided journal based on the things that I've written in my personal journal. I've been journaling for, oh my gosh, pretty much my whole life. And journaling is just one of my favorite ways to do self-reflection. If journaling is something that you're interested in, feel free to grab a copy of my guided journal. It's called I've Got Something to Say, a guided journal for self-expression. It is available on Amazon. I will be sure to include the link to that in the description of this video. Journaling is a great way to get to know yourself without any judgment, without any time limits, without anyone saying, hey, you shouldn't feel that way, you shouldn't think that way. It's just a nice way to release any pent up feelings, good feelings and bad feelings, right? It's good to release and really get to do some self-reflection and know yourself. So journaling, I think, is one of the best ways to do the first step, which is self-reflection. Step number 5 is to practice self-compassion. It's so important to know that we are all human, right? We all have skeletons in our closet. We all have things that we are ashamed of, that we did, that we know we shouldn't have done. They're embarrassing, they're hurtful, but it's okay. It's okay. We have to learn to forgive ourselves and accept that what we've been through is now part of our story. Be gentle with yourself when you're facing challenges or setbacks. I know personally, especially as an entrepreneur or as a creative, we tend to be really hard on ourselves. You know how Erykah Badu says, I'm an artist, so I'm sensitive about my stuff? It's so true. When you put yourself out there, you have to also know to be compassionate with yourself when things don't always quite work out the way you wish they would have or you was intending for them to be. So forgiving yourself for things that you've done, but also being compassionate with yourself when you have setbacks or challenges is huge when you are on a self-love journey. Recognize that everyone makes mistakes. You are no exception, but you are still worthy of forgiveness and compassion even from yourself. In my self-love course, I talk about this and we go into a lot of detail about how to forgive ourselves. I'll be sure to include the link to that in the description box as well. But that, like, if you want to learn to forgive yourself, you got to check out that course. Amazing. You got to check that out. The next step to discovering self-love is celebrating your achievements. Like, love on yourself. It's okay to celebrate your achievements, right? Like, you shouldn't be ashamed of doing great things. You shouldn't have to ever feel like I can't speak up and I can't tell everyone this amazing thing I did. Like, no, you should feel good about your successes, about your achievements, about hitting goals that you wanted to hit. And if you're ever in a situation or in an environment where you feel like you can't celebrate yourself, then you really need to start questioning the environments you're in. Acknowledge and celebrate your accomplishments, no matter how big or small. Celebrate your successes, no matter what they are. We like suppress our good things. We don't want to talk about those things because maybe not everyone around us is doing those things. But don't do that. Like, celebrate who you are and celebrate what you've accomplished, even if it's something small. Step number 3 is setting boundaries. That is, like, especially as women, we can be terrible at setting boundaries. It's really important, though, to set boundaries. Say no when you need to say no. Say yes when you need to say yes. And know that it's okay to decide, like, no, this isn't for me, or this is for me, or like, I'm not going to allow you to either treat me a certain way or talk to me a certain way. I'm not going to do a certain thing. I'm not going to go a certain place. Like, you can set boundaries for your time, for your attention. Like, man, this one is so big. You got to set boundaries. But the best way to know what your boundaries are and to practice setting boundaries is, again, I'm going to go back to the first one, which is self-reflection and journaling. When you know who you are, you can very easily set boundaries. A good example is, for me, right? I'm someone who, I don't drink, I don't smoke. And so, like, I don't care if anybody else is doing it. It's not something I do. I don't care what anyone else is doing. But I don't want to constantly put myself in a situation where that's happening all the time, because I'm not going to feel comfortable. Again, I don't care what anyone else does, but for me, I just don't do it, and I don't want to be around it all the time. Sometimes you can't control what's happening, like at restaurants or concerts or whatever. Like, you can't control what's happening around you. But in most situations where I can decide, hey, no, this isn't for me, then I just choose to not go or not engage in it. And that's fine. Call me a square, call me what you want. I don't really care. I have a boundary. I don't want to be around that excessively. Okay. The next tip is self-care. So a lot of people get self-love and self-care mixed up. And so let's set the record straight on what these two things are. Self-care is the things that we're told is self-love, like, you know, bubble baths and spa treatments and manicures and pedicures and massages and shopping sprees and staycations. Those things are forms of self-care, okay? They are not self-love. Self-love is deeply, truly accepting yourself exactly as you are, okay? And that's what we talked about in all these other steps, right? Learning to do some self-reflection, celebrating yourself, setting boundaries. Those things are self-love. Self-care is all the other things, but you got to do those other things too, which is why they're here on this list. It's okay to spend time doing some mindfulness, journaling, spending time in nature, pursuing your goals, spending time on hobbies that you really enjoy, engaging in physical exercise. These are all amazing forms of self-care, and they're actually quite necessary if you want to have a nice balanced life where you truly love yourself and you practice self-love and self-care consistently. And finally, you know, we kind of touched on this in other steps here, but surrounding yourself with positive, self-loving people is so crucial to any self-love, self-discovery journey. You want to make sure you're surrounding yourself with people who uplift you, who makes you feel good, who are happy themselves, and they can rub off on you and they can make you feel good, and you can, boost them up as well. Like, you can celebrate them and they can celebrate you. That is the type of people you want to be around all the time. Make sure that you're seeking out relationships that are nurturing, that are plentiful, that makes you feel good, they're empowering. And then, of course, on the other side of that, you have to distance yourself from negative conversations, gossiping, people who practice a lot of negative self-talk. That is the exact opposite of what one would need on a self-love journey. You want to make sure you're around positive influences and not around negative influences and toxic people. So there you have it. Those are my 6 steps to self-love. If you want to get in on my self-love journaling course.
You see what I did there? I combined 2 things that I really love, which is self-love and journaling. It's amazing, right?
If you want to get in on my self-love journaling course, check out the description box for the link to that course. We dive into all of these things, all of these topics. We talk about how we're going to make these changes in our lives so that we can start loving ourselves more. There's an amazing community of people that are there to support you on your self-love journey. There's a bunch of bonuses and freebies and all amazing stuff there, so check that out. And remember that self-love is an ongoing process. It's okay to have moments of self-doubt and vulnerability. Just be sure to be patient with yourself and practice these 6 steps that we talked about. Practice them consistently. Over time, you will have a deeper, more profound sense of self-love and self-acceptance. I promise you. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comment section which of these steps resonated with you the most. And again, be sure to check out my guided journal and/or my self-love journaling course, where we deep dive into all of these topics, and I'll show you exactly how to start implementing all of these things in your life on a daily basis. Again, I'm Jenelle. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.